Stage 4 of the Cape Pioneer Trek heralds a whole change in dynamic as we leave the coastal plain and the cool atmosphere of George, head over the mountains and into the Klein Karoo, where it's going to be hot, dry and dusty, with a finish in Oudtshoorn, 94 kilometres and around 1,700 metres of climbing. Tagged as Montagu metal, this is the type of stage that defines the Cape Pioneer as a diverse journey, as the field learns firsthand just how harsh conditions are over the mountains. Neutral through town for the final time in George, and then it was onto the lower slopes of the fabled Montagu Pass. Opened in 1848, it was the first road linking Oudtshoorn and George. At 7.4 kilometres and an average gradient of 9%, it's a tough climb. Solo leader Yuri Krivonek made a familiar, if suicidal, early attack. The bunch were content to let him do his thing. Sure enough, he was soon back in the group, never to be seen again. The gradient whittled the lead group down to the strongest teams, and as they closed in on the summit at 750 metres above sea level, it was race leaders NAD Pro, second place CBC, third place Stop and Belt Specialised, Full Sus, the Estonian pair, and the delightfully named Mountain Chop team going over together. Bell and Combrink, with the 12.5-minute cushion, were calm and composed as they tended to a misbehaving drive chain on the descent. But they caught the large group by the first tech zone at 35 kilometres in Herald. After negotiating the Paardepoort and crossing the Olifants River, the harsh terrain of the Klein Karoo began exacting a toll on many of the front-running teams. Worst off were the Dutch KMC Fruit-to-Go pair of Gerben Moss and Bram Ruert, and the latter's seat post snapped. He was left to ride on a much lower seat than normal, their hopes of repeating their third-place GC finish a year ago gone. With Bell and Combrink playing catch-up once more after another mechanical, the first serious attack was launched on a particularly rough incline in Chandelier Ostrich and Game Farm by Stage 3 winners Eric Kleinhans and Matt Beers. It was a bold move so far from home by the Full Sus pair in these conditions. Both powerful riders, they relished the rough Karoo trails. Behind them, Team Spur of James Reed and Julian Jessup and CBC elites Connie Losa and Daniel Gatoff were dueling it out for second place. The temperature was rising fast, with the back end of the field likely to contend with high 30-degree temperatures, making regular hydration critical for all the riders. Beers and Kleinhans lost too much time early in the race to be in contention for GC, but they're finding form late in the race, and they powered into Oudtshoorn and onto the Langenhoven Gymnasium fields to collect a second win on the trot. CBC won the dice for second ahead of Team Spur, while 19-year-old Franco Pelser from Nelspruit put one over Yuri Krivonek to take his first stage win in the solo race by finishing fourth on the day.
Turned off a district road and we started going into the bushveld. I think it was around 63 k's, and then Eric went and I was like, what is this oak doing? And I was like, okay, well, I better follow. So I went, and then when I was sitting on the back of his wheel, I was just shaking my head. I was like, what are we doing? And I was just like, and then I rode up to Eric and I said, dude, we can't do this. It's impossible. And Eric's like, no, we can. I was like, okay, let's just try. And yeah, geez, I'm glad we took the risk. That's the nice thing about Eric, you know, he likes taking risks. I enjoy that. And yeah, once he told me that it's Attakwa's first section, then I knew, gave me a bit more confidence because I knew where I was actually going, not just heading into the bush somewhere in Oudtshoorn.
With over an hour in hand over their closest rivals, the women's race leaders, Cherie Redeker and Mariska Strass of Omix Pro, were unfazed when they suffered a puncture between water points 1 and 2, a wheel change at the tech zone, and they were cruising again. A fifth win in a row ahead of Klein Karoo ladies Williamson and De Jager, with Steyn and Steenkamp collecting third once more.
We've been coming here since we were little, and it's actually really nice to be back here, and it's definitely a different challenge, a lot more warm weather, and the terrain is a lot less forgiving, so no, it definitely brings up some new challenges.
Bell and Combrink were 8th on the day, over 7 minutes down, but still have over 8 minutes in hand over Gatoff and Losa. Stop and Belt Specialised were 5th on the day, but still hold 3rd in GC. Strauss and Redeker have an iron grip on the women's race, whilst Williamson and De Jager added 18 minutes to their advantage over Steyn and Steenkamp. Well, Montagu Metal delivering great racing at the sharp end, and for those a little further back in the field, the Klein Karoo's intense heat certainly took its toll, but they all finished here at Langenhoven Gymnasium today. On stage 5, it's an 84-kilometre loop that doesn't quite go into the Kamanasi. They brush past it as they go out of Oudtshoorn and back in. That is Captain Courage.